Of course they put the name. Nosson Menachem Ben David. They all come that way.
No, I know, but I'm saying
they all come with my name. Yeah. Okay, good morning. It's Wednesday,
August 1st.
First day of August, the 13th day of Av. This Friday is Tu B'Av.
What's the significance of Tu B'Av?
Tu B'Av was a very happy day. The Gemara brings down that all the people would go out and dance in the street. The women would wear, the young women, the single girls would wear their finest clothing, and it would be a time where shidduchim were made. It's always brought out that Tu B'Av is just barely a week after Tisha B'Av. And like in life itself, we have Mendy over here, like in life itself, God forbid somebody loses a loved one, and you sit for 7 days, but then you get up and life goes on. And while we never forget our parents or whoever we lost, we try to continue our lives and make them proud of us. And the same with the Beis HaMikdash. We've lost the Beis HaMikdash, but a week later we go on, we do mitzvahs, and we try to continue with our lives as much as we can. I actually wanted to speak about something that Tad had asked me, but Baruch Hashem, he's late, so which is a major surprise to nobody. So the question was asked, what happens, if you miss davening, you forgot to daven mincha. Let's start with Shachris. Somebody forgot to daven Shachris today.
Tashlumin.
So there's such a thing as Tashlumin, which means that you make it up. You'll daven 2 minchas. If you get mincha, you daven 2 marivs. So the question came up, what to do on Friday if you forgot to daven mincha on Friday afternoon. What kind of Shemoneh Esrei do you daven Friday night? Of course, you daven 1 Shemoneh Esrei Friday night for Shabbos. Now, what about the other Shemoneh Esrei that you're going to daven the makeup Shemoneh Esrei for Mincha? What kind of a Shemoneh Esrei are you going to daven?
What you're talking about?
Yeah, like you forgot to daven Friday afternoon.
Mincha, you forgot.
Now you come to shul Friday night, you're davening Mariv. You're going to say 1 Shemoneh Esrei for Mariv, which is a regular Shemoneh Esrei for Shabbos. Now you're going to say another Shemoneh Esrei to make up for the Mincha. Now, do you say a Shabbos Shemoneh Esrei, or do you say a Mincha Shemoneh Esrei?
I would say Shabbos.
Probably do neither.
Okay, so we have an opinion that says they would do neither, and somebody said, what did you say?
Shabbos.
Shabbos, okay. Now, I'm going to ask a whole bunch of questions, and then I did some research on this, and I'm going to tell you what basically the Beis Yosef speaks a lot about these type of situations. Here's the situation. Somebody forgot to daven mincha on Rosh Chodesh.
Could be also Shabbos and Shabbos afternoon forgot the mincha and Mariv regular.
Right. What do you do for Mariv? Over there,
it's easier.
It's easier because it's not Shabbos anymore. You can't really daven a Shabbos Dika mincha at midnight after you've made Havdalah. That doesn't. So that pretty much is I think an easier issue. But what about on Rosh Chodesh? You forgot to daven mincha, and you remind yourself on Mariv, which is no more Rosh Chodesh, and you're going to do another mincha to make up for the one you missed.
Yeah, what you forgot Rosh saying to
No. We'll talk about that in a minute. You forgot completely mincha. You forgot to say mincha. You forgot to say Yalav Yovo. Now comes Mariv. It's already not Rosh Chodesh, and you remind yourself. So you're going to do another Mariv.
This is easier than the other one.
Okay. Now what about the reverse? What if you forgot mincha? It was not Rosh Chodesh. Now you reminded yourself at Mariv, and at night already it's Rosh Chodesh. So when you say the Mariv Shemoneh Esrei, of course you say Yalav Yovo. Now you're going to make the mincha Shemoneh Esrei, do you say Yalav Yovo also?
Yes, I think you should say Yalav Yovo.
So I think so far you've been wrong on everything, but we'll see. Actually, no. There's difference of opinion. You can't really be wrong over here. It's only it depends, who we follow. What about? See, in general, we have to get a overview of this whole thing. When you make up a Shemona Esrei, and let's say on a regular day, there's no problems, there's no Shabbos, there's no Rosh Chodesh. On a regular day,
next daven.
We forgot to daven Shachris today.
So you go
The
for
next
mincha.
mincha, today by mincha, we're going to daven 2 Shemona Esreis.
That's true.
Okay? Just 1 second.
Sure.
When we daven those 2 Shemona Esreis, is the first one for the mincha and the second one is what you lost out on Shachris, or is it the other way around? Doesn't matter. And more important than that, does it make a difference what we have in mind? Does our mind play a role in these things?
It's our intent.
It's our intent.
So
It's our intent.
obviously our mind would play a role, I would think.
I think there's a concept, Mashu Ragil, whatever it's supposed to be on its time, you should do first, then worry about what you lost.
Okay, so here you're absolutely correct. That we're not gonna do we're not gonna do the regular one out of order. So we're certainly going to do that one. That one is first, and the second one is the one that we lost. Now, our intent when we daven is very important. I just want to go away for this for 1 second, and I want to talk about intent when we're davening. When we daven Shemona Esrei, we have to concentrate. Very important that we concentrate. In fact, most authorities say that in the first 3 brachas, if you did not have intent to daven and what you're saying, and you're davening to God, and the first 3 brachas, specifically what it says, you have to daven over again.
I mean, you finish the davening?
You finish the davening, and you realize you were thinking about some business deal, So if it's the first 3 brachas that you did not concentrate, you have to start over again. In general,
you did set the brachot.
Yeah, but if you didn't have it in mind.
Now,
what if you didn't have it in mind? You were davening, you were saying the words, but you were thinking about last night's Yankee loss.
You're putting on yourself
How much money Benny lost?
Right.
But you're putting on yourself in a dangerous thing.
What?
Because maybe the davening was a good davening.
No, but you know for a fact that you didn't concentrate on a single word. Now, a lot of people say you should not repeat it because chances are you're not going to have it in mind the second time either. There is a funny, not a funny, but it may have been a true story that this person did a business deal with a guy, and then when he finished the business deal, he right away ran to shul for mincha. And after he finished mincha, he went over to his rabbi in shul, and he says, "Rabbi, I just realized that when I was doing this deal with this guy, that I cheated him out of money, and what should I do?" He says, "Don't worry about it." He says, "You see, you daven mincha already, so you already had time to think of all your business deals while you're davening." He says, "The guy didn't daven mincha, so he's never going to realize that you made a mistake," which is a sad but true thing. Morning. That unfortunately we do let our minds float away and think about all kinds of things when they're davening. For me, it's most difficult. Sometimes I'm davening and I start thinking about something which doesn't belong in, and then I try to concentrate on not thinking about it. And you know what happens when you don't want to think about something.
You think about it even.
I think about it
more.
Yeah. So also the first three blessings are very important, and if you make a mistake anywhere in point in those 3 blessings, you have to start from the beginning of Shemona Esrei. If you make a mistake in any of the other blessings, there are a total of 19 brachas in Shemona Esrei. Even though it's called Shemona Esrei, which means 18, there's really 19. They added a 19th one. We'll talk about that another time. So if in the first 3, any point you make a mistake, you start from the beginning. If any of the other 16 you make a mistake, you start from the beginning of that paragraph. And gentlemen, there's coffee here if anybody wants. Okay. Now,
what's the significance of those first 3 brachot?
Well, it's really if you read it, you'll see how important it is. Mechayim Mogen Avram, Mechayim Meitim, and stuff like that. You notice I said Meitim.
Mendy, do you do the additional Shemona Esrei right after the one you
Okay.
just did?
Yes, right afterward, you do that. So, and by the way, the rule of, good morning, Tad. Thank you for making an appearance. There's coffee there. You sort of have to stick your hand in and pull out that nozzle. Did you get it?
You got it.
You got it? Okay. This whole business of tashlumin, of being able to make up a Shemoneh Esrei that you missed, obviously only applies if you missed it because either what they call an onus, you had no choice, you were stuck in traffic or some other emergency came up. But you can't intentionally say, look, I'm not going to daven Shabbos today, I'll just make it up, I'll do 2 minchas.
Mezit.
Mezit. You can't do that. It's interesting that the Beis Yosef says that if you're involved in business, you're in a big business deal, and you may lose a lot of money, and you can't interrupt it.
And you know you have to
And
daven.
you know you have daven, but you're not going to daven because you want to finish this big business deal. He says that that's not considered a mezit, and you can daven 2 minchas.
It's your parnasa.
Yeah, I mean, Parnosa allows us to do a lot of things. It doesn't
Might lose
allow
the
us
deal. You might lose the
to
deal.
violate any of the negative commandments.
Right.
And it allows us sometimes to push off for a time a positive commandment.
You got to put food on your plate.
Right. So, okay. Now,
What was the answer for Shabbos?
well, you missed. You got to come on time, Ted, because we got into that. I was actually waiting for you, because I wanted to get into that.
You'd answered the
Okay,
question.
everybody has an excuse. What?
You'd answered the question, yeah.
I didn't. So I'm going to tell you now. So the Mishnah.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Is it time yet? What time is it?
No. You have 5 minutes.
Okay.
7 minutes.
Okay, so there is actually a difference of opinion. The Mishnah Berurah says that if you forgot to daven mincha on Rosh Chodesh, okay, the makeup Shemoneh Esrei that you make for that, you should say Yalav Yava. Okay, we're talking about in a case where somebody forgot on Rosh Chodesh, so the makeup Shemoneh Esrei, he also says Yalav Yava. There are people that argue with this, and they say no, that since it's not Rosh Chodesh anymore, you shouldn't say Yalav Yava. Now,
Yeah, say Yalav for Mario.
for Marav, yes.
Which Shemoneh Esrei are you doing first?
Okay,
The
so
one
we
recommended?
talk about that too also. You know what, maybe I'll figure out a way how I can put it on like a phone line, so, because you didn't get out till late last night, so you couldn't be here.
Let me
Okay,
ask you another question. For
Right.
Shabbos morning,
yeah.
let's say you miss Shachrit, and the next davening is Musaf. Are you
Yes.
supposed to say Musaf 2 times?
I don't know. I was thinking of that. I didn't get that far. I have so many scenarios to discuss. We'll do that maybe another time. That's a very good question. He asked if you forgot chakras, what do you do at Musaf? It's a good question.
You know, but the thing is, I've seen a lot of big Rabbanim. They daven even Shachrit very late.
Yeah.
Maybe if
Excuse me? Mu- I know, we're talking about chakras. You forgot chakras. I understand, but what about chakras?
you missed it.
Okay, I see what you're saying. No,
Oh,
okay.
that's right.
All right, so we just have a gentleman here who said that if you forget chakras on Shabbos, you do 2 minchas. Okay.
That makes sense.
So in other words, you can do Musaf and then 15 minutes
Musaf.
later do another Shemoneh Esrei for chakras?
No.
You have to wait till mincha?
It's so Shabbos time, you should daven Shabbos.
Oh, okay, so that's
It's so Shabbos time, if you forget, it's in the afternoon, you can still daven Musaf.
You daven.
All day.
right. So what happens if you forgot chakras and it's 10 o'clock in the morning, you daven Musaf, and now it's 10:30, can you daven chakras? Okay, all right. So in other words, you don't have to wait till mincha to do tashlum. Okay. All right. Now,
Musaf, you don't have
now
problem.
if someone
Musaf,
forgot
Musaf is the whole
mincha
day.
on Friday,
What's the
so we
question?
asked before, if someone forgot mincha on Friday, what do you do Friday night? You obviously do a regular Friday night Shemoneh Esrei. What about the second one? What kind of a Shemoneh Esrei do you do?
What's wrong to do double on Shabbos? What's wrong to do double?
So you do another.
The main thing is like the concept of doing the tefillah. You have
Right.
to pray.
So in that case, you do 2 marivs. Both of them should be a Shabbos the Mariv. Okay. Now, what happens if he, by mistake, his second mariv, instead of doing a Shabbos one, he forgot. He thought, you know what? I'm making this up for mincha, and he did a regular weekday mincha for the second one. So there's actually a difference of opinion of whether we have to now, for the third time, say another Shemoneh Esrei. Okay? Now, okay.
Putting yourself in a big problem of saying the brachot, levatala. And safek brachot lahakel. If you're not sure that you...
Right.
If you're not sure you did it, don't do it.
That's what I was thinking. I'm not sure. Let's say you don't remember do you daven shachris or not.
If you don't remember whether you daven shachris, then
are you supposed to daven?
I don't think you have to repeat the davening because it's
still
first of all we take a chazaka that since if you're a person that davens every day, probably that you did.
Usually for
and safek brachas lahakel. Now maybe as far as krishma, which is midaraisa, which is minatorah, that you should repeat because.
What you talking about, Mari?
Just the shema part.
Or what about let's say you forgot that you daven mincha, and we know that for Mari we could do tashlumin, but according nedava.
Right.
So let's say if I'm didn't daven, it's going to be my davening. If not, it's going to be a nedava.
Right. You can do that. You can always do that.
What's that?
So that's the solution for that.
We'll get into that later. And amen. Okay. So we'll continue this. I had a few more notes on this, so we'll talk about this next time.
Need more time.
Okay. I won't be here tomorrow. I'm going up to New York for the Siyum Hashas, and we'll resume Friday morning. Mir Hashem.
Is it today or tomorrow?
Tonight. I'll be here for Shabbos. Yes.
Tonight
So will you.
Assume, right?